It was a humid summer night in a small American town. The kind of place where the streets seemed quiet, but shadows whispered of things no one wanted to say aloud. Officer Bradley Crane leaned against his patrol car, a man whose badge gleamed, but whose soul was already stained. Power had always been his addiction, and tonight, he thought he had found the perfect way to assert it. Down the road, two men exited a local diner. They looked like ordinary travelers, calm, quiet, respectful. But there was something in their posture, the way they carried themselves, that spoke of discipline. These weren't drifters or troublemakers. These were men forged in fire. But to Crane, they were just two more targets he could use to pad his record and flex his authority. "Evenin, boys," Crane drawled, stepping forward as the men approached. "What's your business in my town?" The taller one, lean with sharp eyes, answered politely. "Just passing through, officer. Grabbing a meal before heading home." Crane smirked. "Don't get smart with me. You look suspicious. Step aside." Before either man could react, Crane twisted the situation. He shoved one against the hood of his cruiser and slapped handcuffs on both. The locals who lingered nearby stared uneasily, but didn't dare intervene. Everyone in town knew better than to cross Officer Crane. The two men, though handcuffed, didn't resist. They exchanged a silent look, a look of calm restraint. Because these weren't ordinary men. They were Navy SEALs. Elite warriors who had spent years defending freedom in places most people could never imagine. But here, in their own country, they were treated like criminals. Inside the county jail, Crane leaned against his desk, scribbling a false police report. "Resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, assaulting an officer," he muttered. Lies stacked upon lies, his smirk growing with each line. He thought he was untouchable. He thought no one would ever question him. But word travels fast. And within hours, whispers of what had happened reached ears that Crane never expected. The two men had remained silent about who they really were, but their disappearance had triggered alarms in circles far above Crane's world. The next morning, the courtroom was packed. Crane strutted in with the arrogance of a man who believed the law bent to his will. He expected an easy win. Two travelers with no power, no connections, railroaded by his fabricated charges. The CLs stood quietly at the defense table, their dignity unbroken. Even in chains, they looked like men carved from steel. The judge shuffled papers, preparing to hear the case. And then, the doors at the back of the courtroom swung open. Every head turned. A man in full uniform entered, his ribbons and stars gleaming beneath the lights. Admiral Jonathan Reeves, one of the most respected leaders in the U.S. Navy. His presence alone carried weight that silenced the entire room. He walked with calm authority, his gaze locked not on the judge, but directly on Officer Crane. Crane's face drained of color. His mouth went dry. His arrogance melted into panic. The Admiral stepped forward, his voice deep and steady. "Your Honor, these men are Lieutenant Commander David Hart and Chief Petty Officer Marcus Lane of the United States Navy SEALs. Decorated warfighters. Heroes who have risked everything for this nation." He paused, his eyes narrowing at Crane. "And last night, they were treated like criminals by a corrupt officer who abused his badge." A gasp echoed through the courtroom. The judge's eyes widened. Reporters scribbled frantically, sensing the story of a lifetime. Crane tried to stammer an excuse. "I didn't know who they were. They were acting suspicious." The Admiral's voice cut through him like a blade. "Suspicious? These men bled in the sands of the Middle East, so you could stand here free. They fought in waters darker than night to keep enemies from reaching our shores. Suspicious. The only suspicious thing in this room is how a man like you ever earned a badge." The SEALs stood silently, their honor intact. They didn't need to defend themselves. The truth was defending them now. The judge slammed the gavel. Charges dismissed. Effective immediately. The courtroom erupted, some in applause, others in shock. Officer Crane tried to slip out, but the Admiral's commanding presence stopped him cold. "You disgraced the very oath you swore," Reeves said sharply. "You'll answer for it." Within moments, Crane was stripped of his authority. His badge, a symbol he had twisted into a weapon, was taken from him. He was led away in handcuffs, the same way he had dragged innocent men hours before. Outside the courthouse, the Admiral turned to his men. His stern face softened. "You didn't tell them who you were." "Why?" David Hart answered quietly. "Because, sir, our titles don't matter. Honor does. And no matter what, we weren't going to dishonor ourselves by fighting back." The Admiral placed a firm hand on their shoulders. "And that's why you're the kind of men I'd trust with my life." The crowd gathered outside, strangers now seeing the SEALs not as criminals, but as heroes. Some saluted. Others simply stood in silence, humbled. The Admiral looked out over them, his voice carrying like a promise. "Remember, this true strength isn't in power abused. It's in sacrifice, in honor, and in service to others. These men embody that. Let's never forget it." The sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden light over the scene as the two SEALs finally walked free. Their dignity unshaken, their legacy untouched. And Officer Crane, he would never forget the day his corruption crumbled before the weight of honor. Because when justice walked into that courtroom, it wasn't just wearing a robe. It was wearing the uniform of a United States Admiral. So if you believe honor still matters, and that true heroes walk quietly among us, waiting only to be recognized, then share this story. And if you want more powerful stories like this, make sure to subscribe.